So now that we have the options page, we will let the user choose the text that will be displayed here. So instead of this style color extension, we can let the user choose the text that will be displayed here. And this is a good practice so that you can add your own options. So the first thing is that I'm going to open the options page. And as you can see, this is the options page. What I'm going to display here is that an input here where the user can enter the text and a button. So that once the user clicks on that button, it's going to take the input text and displays it here instead of this style color extension. So this is the options.html file. I'm going to add here an input and of a type of text, and I'm going to give it an ID of extension name input. And I'm going to also add here a button and save, and I'm going to give it also an ID of save button btn, and let's also add here h3 tag and say something like set your own name. And now in order to make this useful, we need to use JavaScript. We need to use the options.js. And before we use the options.js, we need to make a reference here to the options.js file by using the script, by loading the script here, source options.js, which means that any code that is added here in the options.js will be loaded in the options.html. And now let's go to the options.js. The first thing that we need to do inside the options.js is making reference to these the input as well as the button. So here I'm gonna create some variables. Let extension name input equals to document, and then get element by ID, and we paste here the ID which is this one, the ID, and we want to make the same for the button. Let save button equals to document get element by ID, and we need here to create two functions. The first one is basically going to save the text, which means that it's going to take the text from the input and save it inside our storage so that we can get it later and display it in the icon. The other function that we need to create is a function that will load the previously set text from the storage, so that once the user clicks on the extensions icon, it's going to fetch the text from the storage. So here I'm going to create two functions. The first one is save text, and the other one function or load text. And we want to add event listeners. The first event listener is for the save button. Save add event listener, and it's going to be click. And the second parameter is the function, is this function. And we also need to add another event listener that would listen to the content load. Once the content is loaded, it's going to get the previously saved text and display it inside the extension name input. And that event listener would be added to the document. So document, and then add event listener, and it's going to be the DOM content loaded. Once the DOM of this page of the options.html content is loaded, then we are going to call this function load text, so that it gets text from the storage and displays it inside the extension name input or inside another tag of our choice. We can add here another tag and display the previously saved text.